This early access gameplay of Jungle Adventure is possible thanks to a code provided by EA. My opinions are still my own. Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with more coverage on The Sims 4 Jungle Adventure. So, you may have watched my video from yesterday where I talked about 5 interesting things that you may not know about this pack. And the last one was quite interesting, to say the least, because it basically breaks the fourth wall in a very unexpected way. And one of the sim gurus actually watched that video and was kind enough to let me know that there's more. There's more to it. When you read the descriptions of the decorative glyphs, so you can see I have filtered by Jungle Adventure here, so we're just gonna read these one by one. I haven't read all of these yet, but I've looked at some of them, and this is super interesting. So, yeah, I know it's kind of weird that this is getting its own video, but I had no idea about this, and I think this is too interesting to not talk about. So here we go, the sun glyph. When a sim dies, his heart is absorbed by death and brought to the sun, where the watchers store the energy they need for creation. With each sim that is born, they grab a pinch of sun and put it into the newborn heart, renewing the cycle once more. Excerpt from the Amiska death myth. So that's quite interesting. There's like a whole philosophy about like how us, the players, are creating sims. Like, whoa. And then we got the Lama Glyph here. This one's pretty short, but this has all been and will forever be again. Except from the Amiscan regeneration myth. And then we got the tree glyph. There comes a time when the curiosity of the watchers is sated, when the world has run its course. Then do the watchers collapse, and 1,000 watchers become the watcher once more, and the world collapses into chaos. Excerpt from the Amiska regeneration myth. So this is quite an interesting one too, because it's like, this seems to even possibly line up perfectly with my own fiction that I've set up for my Let's Plays, where it's like, yeah, the Sims are all living inside of a computer, and the world crumbles at the end of each Sim game's life cycle, and then it regenerates into a brand new planet with each new release of a base game. So, yeah, wow, that's kind of interesting how this all happens, and it's just like, yeah, so I guess the Lama Glyph ties into that one too. That's why there isn't as much with that one. Then, what's this next one here? The Fire Glyph. The Watcher is light and dark, good and evil, fire and water, life and death. The Watcher is everything. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, we're controlling our Sims, and some of us like killing Sims, some of us like being really kind to their Sims, like me, and some like starting fires and all that stuff. So yeah. And then we got the Leaves Glyph. The Watchers create trees and flowers, love and meanness, cooking and swimming, which, I mean, it ties into the previous one too. It's like stuff that we all do. And I guess also with the developers, because, well, I mean, we can place plants ourselves, like these wild brambles, but the sim gurus are also placing some of the stuff that we can't as the players place ourselves. Like, I mean, all the stuff that's to the left of Shelly over here, I didn't place that. That's part of the world itself. But whoopsie daisies. Alright, so now we got the Arrowhead Glyph. Already reminds me of Arrow on the CW, but the Watchers do not tell time as Sims do. Their time is longer, larger, unending. A Sim's time in the world must end, as with one, so with all. Excerpt from the Amiska regeneration myth. So, yeah, another thing just tying into the difference in how quickly time passes between Sim Earth time and our time. Well, I mean, I don't know if they've never really dropped the name of the planet for The Sims, have they? I don't think they have officially. I just call it Sim Earth because I like referencing the old Maxis game that's called Sim Earth. But yeah, it's just like how 1 minute in their time is a second in ours. So that's really cool. There's some of the swatches there if you are curious about that. And yeah, let's move on to the next one, the Water Glyph. When Sims were first created, the Watchers argued amongst themselves on whether the Sims should be eternal like the Watchers themselves, or whether they should walk about the world for a time and then be no more. At first, the Watchers, who wished for Sims like themselves, won out, and Sims lived for as long as they were able, except for the few exceptions when one may have been taken by the water or the dangerous plants of the world. Whoa, I hadn't read this one beforehand, so wow, that one is super cool because it seems like this is a reference to how in The Sims 1, Sims are basically immortal. They don't grow old and die. Like, you have the babies growing up into children. Basically, there's no aging like there was from The Sims 2 onwards. Not like that, so that's kind of interesting. And I still play like that today, where my Sims, well, they age a little bit when I feel like the story demands it, or to keep up consistency with other Sims that I want to age as well. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, it's like my Sims, it's still very Sims 1 style, because I get attached to my Sims. I don't want them to die. So yeah, it's really interesting how they've incorporated the lore of even like The Sims. It's so meta, and it actually matches with my fiction too. It's so awesome. The Watcher Glyph. The Watcher divides until the Watcher is 10 Watchers, 100 Watchers, 1,000 Watchers. Okay, so is this how, is this like commentary on how like The Sims started out? I mean, it sold pretty well, like from the day it launched, I'm sure, but I guess it's just generally a reference to how there's more Simmers now compared to the day that The Sims 1 came out. Wow, this is so gosh darn interesting. I'm glad I'm making a video about this. Poison Glyph. And so, from the parts of themselves that decay and renew, they create death, except from the Amiska death myth. Okay, so I don't understand this one as much. From the parts of themselves that decay and renew, I'm confused. Like, I'm sure some of you are gonna let me know in the comment section below what this really means, but yeah, I'm a little bit confused about this. Ourselves, decaying and renewing. I don't know. Let's just move on. Death Glyph. Death, a being of bones who roams the world and brings Sims from their life to their death. Now when a Sim dies, his heart is absorbed by death and brought to the sun, where the Watchers store the energy they need for creation. With each Sim that is born, they grab a pinch of sun and put it into the newborn heart, renewing the cycle once more. Another excerpt from the Amiska death myth. Okay, so yeah, I guess it's also like the other one. It's more like a legend. It's less true, I guess, than some of the other ones that we've read so far. Bones. Yeah, this is mainly about the Grim Reaper, but I guess it's like tying into us a little bit too. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Then the Key Glyph. While the Sims may remember nothing of the previous worlds, the Watcher remembers them all, learns from them all. With each new world, the Watcher divides into more Watchers, is able to create more Sims, smarter Sims, greater worlds. This has all been and will forever be again. Excerpt from the Amiska Regeneration myth. So I did read this one, and oh my goodness, this is my favorite one probably. Because this one, more than any other, does tie directly into my fiction with the whole, like, well, actually, no. Never mind. Actually, this conflicts with my fiction, because in my Sims Let's Plays, I occasionally bring back Sims that I've made in The Sims 3 or even in Shelly's case over there, from The Sims 2, and they do remember their experiences from those previous games. However, the new Sims that I make in The Sims 4 that have not been in any of the previous games, they don't know. They don't know anything about the previous Sims games unless a Sim from the older games tells them about it. So they don't know, like, before Cats and Dogs came out, they didn't really know what Cats and Dogs were, except for, like, that movie from Movie Hangout stuff where there's, like, the Lost Dog's Journey Home. They're like, what is this? What is this? What is this doggo? But, I mean, the other stuff is pretty interesting, too, about, like those of us who have played multiple Sims games. It's like, yeah, we remember all of those Sims games. We learn from all the Sims games, and then there's more Simmers who join with each one. So that's really interesting. And also, just I laughed at the Smarter Sims part because it's like tying into the marketing campaign of The Sims 4. They were like, Smarter Sims, weirder stories. And alright, the Builder Glyph. The Watchers work to create the world. They take pieces of themselves. They take the light from within themselves and create suns. They take the darkness from within themselves and create night skies. An excerpt from the Amiska origin myth. Okay, so yeah, this is really cool because it ties into how us as Simmers, we're creating Sims, and maybe, like, not necessarily all of our Sims are reflections of our personality, but yeah, like, with, especially, I guess, with maybe our most favorite Sims, yeah, we see a bit of ourselves in them. And, yeah, some of us create Sims with evil intentions, some of us create Sims with good intentions, and, yeah, it ties into the day and the night. And then we got the Chaos Glyph. In the darkness there is chaos. In the chaos is everything. And so it continues for generations and generations. Chaos from chaos until the time when the Watcher emerges from the chaos. The Watcher controls the chaos and is also controlled by the chaos. Another excerpt from the Amiska origin myth. So this one is pretty cool too, because it's like, yeah, like they talk about how, like, we create chaos, but then sometimes we let the events of our Sims' lives take control of us as well, and we kind of keep going with that. Not everything we do is something that we plan from the start. At least that's my interpretation of this. And yeah, I guess also, again, referencing the multiple generations of Sims games. And then, here we go, the last one, the Food Glyph. But soon the Watchers found this system unreasonable. The world was covered with Sims. The Sims could barely move about, bumping into one another. There was never enough food or beds or happiness to go around. The sun was shrinking with the energy that went into so much creation. Excerpt from the Amiska Death Myth. How appropriate, because that one's kind of dark. So, yeah, I guess also this ties into our own world a little bit with overpopulation and a small percentage of us living in wealth, while a lot of the world is living either in they're able to, we're able to feed and clothe ourselves, but not live very well, or just those of us living on the streets and all of that. So yeah, wow, that's all of them. There aren't any more that I can see here. So wow, like, I mean, this is partly the reason why in the stuff pack reviews that I read some of my favorite object descriptions. So I kind of regret not doing it for game packs, because yeah, like with the game packs I don't really do the normal reviews that I do for stuff packs, because it just, there's so much more stuff and it would take so long, and then you know how long some of my stuff pack reviews take, so some of the game pack ones would probably take an hour or so if I did them. But seriously, like, yeah, thank you, Singers, for like putting in such cool object descriptions for these. Like, wow. And it's really cool how some of it just coincidentally ties in with how I tell my Sim stories as well. So wow, just like kudos to you developers. This is awesome. And yeah, I mean, especially in the case of these object descriptions, it almost feels like you're missing out on part of the experience if you don't read these object descriptions. It's like, it's been part of The Sims from the very beginning with The Sims 1 to have, like, these descriptions for each and every object. So, I mean, like, I hope this never goes away. I really hope that, like, once the inevitable Sims 5 comes around, 6, 7, 8, that they never get rid of object descriptions, because, like, there's so many fun ones. With the passage of time, age destroys all. Even the most beautiful wall can fall into dilapidated ruins given enough duration. So even, like, for the wall cracks, they give they give descriptions like that. They don't just don't be like, here's a wall crack, here you go, it's cool, make your lots look rent out or whatever. No, they actually put a little bit more thought into it. They even have, like, some of these objects tie into the new world of Salvadorada, and it's just like, yes. So awesome. Like, I really appreciate this. I can't wait to see what kind of object descriptions they will come up with future packs for The Sims 4. So, yeah, like, right now we don't even know, like, what else is coming, because, yeah, we're coming up towards the end of this quarter. But anyways, yeah, I hope you enjoyed looking at these object descriptions as much as I did, and be sure to leave a like, or comment, or even subscribe, because it lets me know that you like my channel, my videos, and it helps you keep up to date more easily with the latest content for me. I do videos on The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more, so I'll talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!